Hey there, Brandon here, and welcome to another episode of Stack and Scale, the holiday edition. And today we're coming back with yet another clay build. And this one wasn't one that I built for a client. This was actually one that I was building to scratch my own itch. So, you know those posts on LinkedIn where they say, comment magic word, and I'm going to send you the template or the asset or the link or whatever that is. Well, if you've been following me on LinkedIn, I've done a few of these, and it is a big pain in the ass to actually follow up with every single person because LinkedIn doesn't make it easy, but this clay build actually makes it pretty easy. But I know a lot of people actually really hate this strategy because most of the time they don't get the actual asset that they are commenting for. They end up commenting and then nothing happens from there except that post ends up taking off. And having done this a few times, I will tell you, it is a lot of work. I don't think anyone is malicious out there and really just trying to dupe people to just comment on their, I don't know, maybe there are, but whenever I do it, I always make it a point to make sure that every single person that comments the magic word gets the link. And again, it is a lot of work, but it does get kind of a bad rap because, I mean, just me having commented plenty of times, I only get it about half the time, but this automates most of the work. Let me show you what I built. Okay, there's actually two builds here for you. The first one is taking a look at that post, finding all of the comments, and then reaching out to those people via Heyreach and sending them a LinkedIn message with your link. Now, if you don't know Heyreach is a LinkedIn sequencing tool. So building a sequence, but instead of email and calls, etc., it's all on LinkedIn. Now, that's the first way to do it. If you don't have Heyreach and you don't want to pay for Heyreach, it's only, I think, $79 a month or something for the lowest tier. But if you don't want to do it that way, I built a second one, which I'll show you in a minute, that is actually following up with people just via email. So just another way to do the exact same thing, follow up with people that leave that magic comment on your post. So let's dive into this really quick and show you how I built it. So you're going to select Signal. Actually, coming back over here, see it's a Signal here, and then you're going to select LinkedIn Post, and then this is actually what that looks like. Let me just edit this real quick just to show you. And I did disconnect my LinkedIn to show you how easy it is just to reconnect your LinkedIn. So here, all you do is LinkedIn, and then you select your LinkedIn login. Let me put my one password. Okay, boom. And then you log in and you're connected. You name it, and then boom. And that should go away if we just hit retry. And then the next thing that we need to do after we connected our LinkedIn account is uniform resource name, the URN number of the LinkedIn post. Okay, so we have the post here. This is one that I did a few weeks ago, and it is comment the word workflow, and I'm going to send you this clay template that I built. And what we're going to do here is go up to the three dots, hit embed this post, copy this code, and then I want to open up a new just doc here because I don't need this entire code. I just need the URN from here. So I'm just going to paste this in real quick. I'm going to grab everything that goes from URN all the way over to the question mark. I'm going to take that just so I have the URN and then that long string of numbers there. I'm going to take that. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to put it right in here. Of course, I already did that here. And then what am I looking for? You can have reactions or comments. Obviously, in this case, I want comments. And for the sake of this post, I don't want to burn all my credits because there's a lot of comments on this post. I'm just going to limit it to 5 now. And then we're going to run this daily. And then let me hit save, update, and then it's going to populate the full name, the URL of the person who left the comment, and then the comment text itself. And then next thing that I did here is I normalized the first name. So from the full name, I just pulled out first name and normalized it. So there's no weird characters. There's no emojis. There's no middle initials, that sort of thing. And then same thing with the last name. And then here what I'm doing is I'm looking at the text of the comment itself in this column. And I'm saying, did they actually say Clay template or Clay workflow? Because there are people in my last post that left comments like, oh, this strategy is so lame, blah, 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 because they've been burned by it before, right? And what I'm doing is, just making sure I'm launching this play only to people who actually comment Clay workflow. And I also did write in here too, don't make it case sensitive and account for any misspellings or typos. So it's looking for a bunch of different variations of Clay workflow. And then it spits out a true or false. If it's true, these are the people that I actually want to follow up with. And then I'm sending it over to the Heyreach campaign. And just to show you how easy it is to connect to Heyreach, I did disconnect my Heyreach account so that I'll show you how to get the API and plug it in, and you'll be good to go again. So you add account, you go to the API here, then you go over to Heyreach, go over to your integrations, and then it's the Heyreach API, get API, copy that bad boy. Let's go back over to our Clay table. We paste that in there. We hit save. And success. Okay. And then now we're just mapping our columns here. This is the campaign ID within Heyreach. So the Heyreach campaign, I just called it testing. Call it something, I could have probably come up with something more creative, but obviously call it something that matches your campaign. Then you just map the first name. We did the normalized one that we did, the last name, and the LinkedIn URL. And the last thing that I did here, I did put run conditions on this. So I said, run only if this column equals true, because again, we don't want to follow up with people who don't want to be followed up with. So if they commented the right thing there, then they get put into that campaign. And let's jump over the campaign. Let me show you what that looks like. So with Heyreach, I should say, with this strategy, there are going to be two different types of people that comment. People that you are first degree connections with, which is going to be just a straight message, and people who you are not first degree connections with. And you don't want to send them an in-mail because you're going to burn through your in-mails really quick. So the way you get around that is you send them a connection request, and in the connection request message, you put, here's the link to the XYZ asset that you are commenting for. So let me show you what that looks like. The first node is if connection. So if you're not connected, send this message. And then here's the message with the first name token. And then this down here is the fallback. So you basically need a fallback without any token. I took the exact same thing. And instead of saying first name, I said, hey there. I saw that you commented on a post about the Clay workbook for turning web intent into warm outreach to buyers. Here's the full breakdown of the workflow. Hope it's helpful. And then I linked to where you can find that. Okay, so the next one here is if you are connected with them, then you send them a direct message. And it's the exact same message. The token, and then here's the version with the fallback with no token. And that's it. And that is a Heyreach that is pretty easy. Now, let me show you actually how you set that up real quick. Okay, so you go into your campaigns, you start a new campaign, testing 1, 2, and then you do need to just create an empty list because you can't create something without, or you can't create a campaign without any list. We don't need to do any exclusions here. So we're going to go next. And here's something to know. Okay, first off, I'm actually using one of my clients' Heyreach for this. I'm obviously not Ray Reich, but Ray, I appreciate you letting me use your Heyreach for this example because it did not want to connect to mine because I tried to connect it too many times. Anyway, the only thing about this strategy is it only allows 40 connections per day. So if you're getting a post with, 100 comments per day and you got to follow up with 100 people, you're going to get a little bit behind. That's just something that you got to know. It's a limit of Heyreach, and they put that protection in place so that you don't get flagged by LinkedIn for suspicious activity. So I've never had that happen before, and I always, with my LinkedIn or with my Heyreach plays, I always do 40 connections per day. So 40 is pretty safe, and that's just, again, one small limitation that you need to know about this strategy. You can adjust things a little bit, like max connection requests per day. Let's actually put that all the way up to 40, and then max follows per day. Maybe we'll bring that down a little bit. And I'm good with that. Okay. And then we're going to hit continue. And then here's where we build our campaign, if connected. And then this is exactly what I showed you over here. Okay, so that is option number 1 for following up with comments on your LinkedIn posts. Option number 2, again, is sending them an email instead. So let's take a look at what that build looks like. Okay, so your trigger is going to be the exact same. And let's actually just dive into that over here. Yeah, again, this is the exact same step as we set up last time. And you get the full name, you get the URL of the commenter, and you get the comment. Then also here, we're normalizing the first name, normalizing the last name, and then making sure that they commented the magic word. And then it's just outputting yes or no, whether they did or not by a checkbox. And then here's the additional steps. So first, we're actually enriching that person based off of their LinkedIn. And then we're going to find their work email. And then from here, we're going to sync it to the native sequencer within Clay here. And then also to note, so we're pulling in all these things. I did set run conditions on this. So this is saying that the Clay template column must be true, and I have their work email. Because if I don't have the work email, obviously we don't need to put them into the campaign itself. And then if we jump over here to the actual sequencer, the only thing I needed to do here was say, hey, first name, and I'm pulling in the normalized first name column. I saw that you commented on my post. Here's the link. Hope it's helpful. Best, Brandon. That's it. I hit save. And then the only thing that I need to do is launch the campaign. Now, a few quick things when you're setting this up for yourself that I should mention. Now, if you have something else that you want people to comment instead of Clay workflow, you're going to need to change this column here. So you jump in here because I set this up to say Clay workflow. It's going through and it's saying Clay workflow doesn't have to be is not case sensitive. Here are a bunch of typos and misspellings that people might say for Clay workflow. And maybe if it's in a different order and it's not what they intend, then don't send it to them, that sort of thing. So if I were you, I would just take all this, I would delete it, and then I would say, and then I just want to use their AI here. So generate with AI. And then I would say, look at the column comment text to determine if they say, magic words. And if so, output true. And then the other thing that I said, I did, oops, I really can't type. I hate typing in front of people. I have typing performance anxiety. Anyway, the other thing that I did, the only other thing I added was, it does not need to be case sensitive, and please take into account misspellings and typos of magic words. And then I hit generate, and then Clay's AI goes and does its thing, and it creates that whole big prompt for me. And then after that's in there, I can put it in. And then I do want to test it to make sure it is acting the way I want it to act. I'm not going to save this because magic word is not the one that I wanted that I'm actually using. So anyway, hope this is all helpful. I am going to give you guys the link to use this template for yourselves. So let me get that ready for you. And then Where am I going? Settings, turn that on, and then boom. I'll include both of these for you all so that you can use these, either one, whatever makes sense for you. Also, if you know someone who is using this technique on LinkedIn, they are not following up with everyone, why don't you just go ahead and send this over to them? I really do hope that this helps people actually follow up and follow through with their word when they say they're going to send people said asset after commenting magic words. And you can use these tables in other ways too, not just following up with people who comment magic word, right? If there's an influencer or someone at your company who's posting something that's related to problems that you solve and use cases for your product, you can obviously scrape the comments and follow up with people who are replying with certain things, right? So don't limit this just to this one strategy. There's a lot of different ways you can take posts, take reactions from posts, and start to create conversations with people, following up with them, offering them interesting things, and again, getting those conversations started. So you can just be a little bit more creative with how you're using it. Anyway, hope that was helpful. If you end up using this, let me know. If you end up finding other creative ways to use this or a variation of this, would love to hear it. Please use this, please share that, and please have a great, happy, healthy, safe holidays. I will talk to you in the next episode. Cheers.